you're probably going to see an increase in relationships between kin, because those are the people now that I think we're spending more time with. We're concentrating on a smaller number instead of obviously hanging out at bars with 50 people. We're now hanging out with small groups of people, and the easiest people to hang out with are your kin because we, feel most comfortable around them. We see them most frequently. So I'd guess tighter family relationships would be the most positive outcome of this. In North America, there's this tendency to think you've got to stand on your own, you've got to be separate. People move out of their home even when they don't need to, even when not getting married, even when they don't really have any, they'll move out of a perfectly large house with 5 bedrooms, and they're the only person living there because they need to be, separate. And so I think there's a force in our society that says you need to separate yourself. But uh, I think that's sort of the one obstacle is that look, it's okay to be friends with your kin. You can trust your kin, and it keeps the network of potential infections smaller. So again, I think people will do it naturally, and the only wisdom would be don't don't pay attention to your cultural value that you should separate yourself from your family. I think there's going to be more aversion towards outsiders. The sort of the standard Mark Schaller stuff that shows that when people are concerned about disease, they're especially likely to want to distance themselves from people from foreign places. And that's particularly true of foreign places that they're not familiar with. Okay, so Americans and Canadians will probably get over the border between us, but people from strange, exotic places are going to experience more prejudice by people from other places. And so I think there's going to be more ethnocentrism, you might say, not necessarily ethnic, but kind of geocentric. There's going to be more geocentrism. We're going to like the people around us and be averse to hanging out with people from far away, foreign places. You're going to have to be considerate about who are the people that you're interacting with. I also think that the other thing is, again, this I think is going to be automatic wisdom rather than, I think that once you become familiar with somebody, they're no longer a foreigner. They're sort of a member of our ancestors. Had people come in occasionally from other villages. Somebody would marry, most typically a guy would marry a woman from another village. At first, she'd probably get excluded, but then eventually she became a familiar face. She became part of the group. And I think that, if you're an outsider and you want to be accepted, don't necessarily push too quickly. Just become familiar. Say hi from a distance. Let people get to be familiar with your face, and who you are, and recognize you as a part of the neighborhood, and then eventually you will be a part of the neighborhood. I guess what I would be thinking about is to what extent can I get into things like the kind of stuff my son is into, like media outreach? There's going to be a lot more online learning. There's going to be a lot more. There should be opportunities that open up in terms of technological communication between people. And if I were young, I'd be, and had had a job as a waiter or a waitress, I'd be trying to learn some of that stuff so that I can be ready for for the future, because this is not going to, we're never probably going to stop interacting online the way we are now because it's so convenient.